get to this because the NYPD has been bracing for demonstrations in the wake of the presidential election, right? The department's strategic response group mobilized, ready to act should things get out of hand. It's a trial by fire for the newly appointed NYPD Chief of Patrol, Juanita Holmes, who hasn't even been on the job for a week. She joins us this morning now to discuss the additional steps that the NYPD is taking to keep the peace. Chief Holmes, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan.
So first and foremost, congratulations on becoming the first African-American woman to be appointed Chief of Patrol. Last year at this time, you know, we talked about this last time you were here, you were retired. Just here in September, you were talking about coming out of retirement to serve as the department's new Chief of Collaborative Policing. So is your head spinning this morning about all the changes?
All in a New York minute, Dan. But no. So I'm really happy and humbled, actually, to be chosen for this position, especially during this time. But my head is spinning a little bit, but I'm ready.
You know, so let me talk about this because the NYPD was out in full force on Election Day to make sure there weren't problems at the polls. Aside from the long lines, let me get to this. Were there any major issues that you saw on the streets?
No major issues.
And that's good because we've seen businesses kind of boarded up all across the city bracing for protests. So are there any specific areas that the NYPD is watching closely today as we get some more numbers that are coming in?
Yeah, I mean, is that going to be key here as we see the numbers start to solidify? Is that when we're possibly going to see some unrest?
We're geared up for anything. Right now, we don't have any credible threats. I know the store owners have been boarding up. That's just precautionary. And it's something based on their experience that they had this past summer. So as a result of such, though, I can assure you that we are more than ready.
Well, give us an idea. What kind of teams have been mobilized? What's in place so that we know how we will be protected should things get out of hand?
So we have the ability now to have a large number of men and women, police officers, wherever we need them in an instant. So that's why people should feel secure, and that's any borough.
Yeah, you know, Juanita, we've also heard a lot of community groups, safety patrols like the Guardian Angels, that they would be out taking to the streets to keep the peace. Do you welcome that kind of support on the streets during this kind of time? Absolutely.
Absolutely. They're part of the community. We welcome the community support. Yeah, if you look at a lot of the incidents that we've experienced demonstrations, and these demonstrations have a small group of bad actors, and these bad actors want to be submerged in the groups that are out there legitimately protesting, right? To have their voice heard. So what we want from the community is that to identify these individuals, move away from them. We're not asking them to intervene, but if you notice that people are out there doing things that are illegal, any sort of criminal acts, just kind of move away from them, expose them, and we're ready to arrest them. You know, we have zero tolerance for any sort of violence in this city, whether it's assaulting a police officer, whether it's looting a store. Zero tolerance, Dan.
Let me get to this because when you look at the city right now and you see some of the buildings that are boarded up, it is almost one of those things where you look at it and you say, oh my goodness, what is happening to New York City? The fact that we have to board up during an election. Did that at all sway you at all? Did it make you think that they should be doing that or shouldn't be doing it because optics are everything here?
No, and we've met with several bids, right? We've met with a lot of people, myself, Chief Madrian, spoken with them. Listen, I can reassure them that we are here for them and we're in a great position and we're prepared.
Chief Holmes, I got to tell you, as we prepared for Election Day, we also prepared for the possibility of unrest. And it was nice to see coming into work that despite the buildings being boarded up in areas, we didn't see anything of the liking of being, you know, unrest in areas. So, but you have to stay on heightened alert. Do you have the mobilization and the manpower in order to do that for an extended amount of time? Because we don't know how long this might take.
Absolutely, and that's part of our plan. Right? So we didn't really expect anything yesterday, but if anything happens today, tomorrow, the next day, we're prepared for that as well.
Chief Holmes, I do want to get to some things about you as an individual. You know, I just thank you for coming on this Election Day. It is so important to talk about exactly what we expect on the streets of New York City. But I just have to credit what we're talking to you about on this historic day because you are the first woman, the first African-American woman to hold this job. And not only that, can I just go through, if you may, I know you don't like to be talked about, but let me just go. You're the highest ranking African-American woman in the NYPD history, holding jobs sergeant, lieutenant, captain, deputy inspector, inspector, deputy chief, assistant chief. Should I continue?
That's true, Dan.
Was it ever enough for you?
No, I love it. You know, when you're passionate about something, it's never enough. I'm very passionate about what I do. And I'm very humble, and it's very just grateful to be in this position. It's something I aspired for. Most of my career has been patrol-oriented. So to culminate being the chief of patrol, it's just a highlight of my life right now.
Well, it was enough to come out of retirement for, that's for sure.
Yes.
With 16 other family members joining the NYPD as well. I do want to talk to you about one specific thing right now because, you know, when you talk about the history and you being the highest ranking African-American woman, race relations are a big topic, especially, you know, what we've experienced in the last couple of months, right? And you've talked about last time you were here, strengthening relationships within the community. How do you envision, oh, did we lose her?
Oh, uh-oh.
Oh.
She really wanted to answer your question, though,
Well,
Dan.
Chief Holmes. We're going to try to get her
back.
You know, because she has really been talking about quite some time about strengthening relationships, community engagement being everything. And I think when you look at how the city has unfolded in the last couple of months, race relations is something that is specifically important when it comes to community and the NYPD and bridging that gap together.
Well, and I think putting her in that position is also very symbolic, right, of what the NYPD is, the message they're trying to send out, and the message that she's trying to send out as well by accepting it and coming out of retirement for it.
And she also, by the way, last time she was here, said that she would not turn away or shy away from the job of NYPD commissioner.
Oh. So you can see more of this.
Sorry we lost you, Chief Holmes, but thank you for joining us this morning on this
Appreciate it.
historic day. Do appreciate it. 8:43 coming up next. New Jersey giving the green light to legalize recreational marijuana. So next, Katie Corrado live with what are the next steps.
And later on at 9:20, how your kids are processing this election. We're going to talk with a doctor about how you can talk to your children about the race, the results, and prevent them from stressing out.
8:46 right now. We couldn't let her go. Let's get back Chief Juanita Holmes to pick up more news. I'm sorry, we couldn't let you leave just abruptly like that.
Hi, Dan.
So let's just wrap this up and put a nice bow on it right now because you are prepared, like, you know, Betty was asking about with the elections and in terms of numbers on the streets. But I wanted to talk to you real quick about race relations as we head into today and looking forward, right? Because last time you were here, we talked about strengthening relationships and community engagement more now than ever between people of color and the NYPD. How do you see that happening in the days and weeks ahead?
Conversations. Right? I often say community engagement is key, and NYPD has been ever evolving in community engagement. So with that, we're re-envisioning community relations with different platforms of how we're going to reach the community. Right now, we have meetings that are just ancient in nature, right? We rely on people coming out, participating. Now we're going to start to be more creative, use platforms like Zoom and Facebook Live, just to reach as many members as we can. You know, we have things in place for the youth. We've recently put 330 officers in the capacity of the YCOs, which is to bolster NCOs, but really reaching out to the younger community.
And, you know, I like that you said that you're going to take a look at what exactly technology has to offer, because I feel like that's something that has been overlooked, not only by the department, but really by a lot of different city officials at the same time, where you really have to zero in and focus on where the people are talking, and that is on social media. Lastly, you hinted last time you would never shy away from Commissioner. Do you still feel that way?
This job is tough enough in itself, and I still feel that way, yes.
That you would want to be Commissioner?
I think anyone would want to be Commissioner of New York City. That's just my biased opinion. But right now, I'm going to focus on this capacity.
Well, who knows? That your jobs are changing by the week. It seems like. Chief Juanita Holmes, thank you for coming back with us this morning. Sorry we lost you the first time around.
Thank you.